Okay, so I decided to go live because I kind of miss doing it sometimes, and I've not done it like full out for an hour in quite some time. You'll hear Livy and everybody screaming. Hey, Suburban. I didn't see who else was in here. Green Gables and Freaky. Hi, guys. Yeah, I've just not done a live stream, like a sit down, just talk just because the live stream. Hi, Vina. Hey, Amy. I'm having a hard time reading this blind. So, how's everybody's week been? Okay, Sullivan, Kelly, Brooklyn Girl, Helen Loves. Winter, don't knock that over. How's everybody's week been? Who besides me is going to be affected by the storm? I think it's Hurricane Cindy is what the name is. Ooh, hot EDR. Oh, Lord. Y'all getting hit with it yet? We had like a little blimp of it for just a second, and now it has stopped. It's quiet and calm, but it's almost like one of those, it's too quiet, too calm type thing. Kind of nervous. Earlier, I was telling you guys, we had really bad winds earlier, and it ripped two of my zucchini plants up. So I'm curious to see. I'll just go to bed and let John deal with it. John hates storms. He's not scared, but he hates it. He paces and he worries and stresses about it. This week they're laying flat on the ground now. Oh no, really? Yeah, that sucks. See, my sunflowers, they were swaying, and I was just like, no, don't do it. And even more so than the sunflowers. I'm not even as worried about them as I'm worried about my corn. Like, my corn is like, Jason! But like my corn was moving, and I was like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. But it's ripped up 2 zucchini plants. You guys know that I know, Tam, I've been forever since I've done it. You guys know that I was using bamboo to hold up my tomatoes and my cucumbers. I've only got 2 of the 6 cucumber plants still standing. And the tomatoes that are kind of going down the hill a little bit are still up, but 4 of the 10 are down. I'm worried about my sunflower and corn. I can't enter a weepy sunflower in the there. That's true. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. I'm so nervous. Storms don't bother me. I've never cared about it, but suddenly I'm just like, I never realized that this was such an issue. But I was saying earlier in the streams, it's funny because I'm a goober, but I was going out there and I was going to hoe the garden because, guys, like, my hoe is not sharp and it's wobbly. So, like, I'm waiting for me to hit it one good time and it just pop off. My little tiny tiller that I have, I've got to get gas for. I've got a couple of, I'm working on it. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there to where I can, like, weed my garden. But it's in between. You guys know, I'm sure you've seen where I have them like almost like square foot gardening. Everything's all sectioned off. Well, the spaces, the actual plants, I've been decent about making sure that there's some weeds, but it's not hideous. But the spaces, like my little rows between like my walkways, like it's shin-high grass. Like I'm going to have to weed eat it down, clear it all out, and then hoe it out. Yeah, I do need a better head for the hoe, for sure. I saw one on YouTube, and I was just like, I want this hoe so bad. It's a push-pull, I think is what it's called. Literally, you just move it back and forth, and it just peels it up, and I was just like, that's so amazing. That's so amazing. But I'm not complaining. Check out a hula hoe. It's similar to that, Green Gables. It's similar to a hula hoe. I seen it, and I was just like, this thing is fantastic. I can't remember what the name of the company was. But they got, it's like a push-pull. It's pretty interesting, actually. But yeah, the weeds have been bad, but I'm not complaining too much about it, because I was out there and I was going to pull all this stuff up, and I kind of been like whacking at it for a while. Hey, Mimo! I've been whacking at it for a little bit, and every bit of the grass that I pulled up, I went out there and was like dumping grass out to all the rabbits. And then the wind started coming, and my zucchini plants, I've been really good, and there's nothing around the zucchini plants. And some of them got pulled up from the wind. Well, there's a lot of like thick, heavy weeds and grass and stuff in front of some of my plants. And I noticed as I was watching the wind that the stuff that had really heavy weeds weren't being blown over. And I looked at it for a second and I thought, I'm just going to leave you. I'm going to stop weeding right now. Jesus, just have my laziness keep my plants safe. My laziness and procrastination and my broken hoe, let that work. But I have to tell you what happened to me today. So the wind started blowing really hard, and it busted some bamboo. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to have to put something up to keep these. I love you too, Daddy. I was going to have to put something up to keep my tomato plants from being ripped up. So I went to Lowe's and got tomato cages. Okay? Before I went, I thought, how much are the tomato cages? So they had galvanized steel tomato cages who were $268 a piece. They were 48 inches, right? No big deal. So I show up, I pick out 10 of them, and take them up to the register, and the woman brings me up, and she's like, it's going to be 78 and some change. And I'm, excuse me? How much? And she was like, oh, well, you got the one that was galvanized and has 4 prongs. The one that you're looking for is galvanized and has 3 prongs. Okay. So we put those up. I went back, got the ones that she said. We rung them up, and she was like, it's $48.92. Hello? I was like, no, it's not. And I showed her on the website, and she was like, oh, that's a participating Lowe's, and we don't participate. Like, I was just... Okay, so Mom and the kids were sitting out in the car waiting on me. So I put them up, and I said, well, which ones do you have? Like, what's the cheapest ones you got? I'm just trying to keep them from being blown up in the store. And she was like, well, we have the 48-inch, and it is, I think she said like $3 and something. I thought, you know what, that's fine. And the manager was standing there, and she was like, well, I'll go get them for you. So she disappears, and I stand there, and they check out like 5 other people. Finally, she brings them up, or comes back up to me with no tomato cages, and I was like, what are we doing? And she goes, they're on the very top shelf, so I'm going to have to get somebody with a, what do you call them? Forklift. I'm going to have to get a forklift back here so that I can get them off the top shelf. And I was just like, she said, I do have 3-foot ones if you want those. I was like, I'll take them. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'll take them. They ended up being $1.98. I was like, I'll just take that. Yes. So I tried to... Sorry about that. Someone tried to call me. Joys of live stream on the phone. So, anyway, all that being said, so she comes back. She brings me the 10 of them. That's when the real fun starts. The fun starts because I have to take them home, and I have to put my big freaking tomato plants and trying to stuff them inside of this little tomato cage. And so the buffering took, oh, that's good. I'm glad it took away the static sound. I don't know what's up with the YouTube live. How she does hers. I do need to look at that because she was the one telling me about her, the bamboo. And I tried the bamboo, but they were busting. The wind actually split them. So I was so frustrated. So frustrated. Hey, you're sounding, looking, okay. Great even. Okay, good. I'm glad. So I was like trying to stuff these tomato plants inside these little bitty tomato cages, and I got like 3 of them done. The 3 that had the broken bamboo, and I was just like, forget it, just forget it. And I was just like, whatever happens, I don't care. Just all of you fall. I don't even care. Like, I'm hot and I'm tired and I'm sweating. This is like 3 in the afternoon. I had been gone all day long. I had to go pay our water bill. I went and checked the post office. I went and picked up Mom. I had to go to the bank. I had to go grocery shopping for 2 weeks on a budget of $120 for 5 people. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Technically 6 because we have Fifi all the time. And I was just like... So that was just a lot of stress. And so then we go to Lowe's and we have all that issue. And I was just like, just bring me tomato cages, lady. And I literally, it took me over an hour at Lowe's for her to bring me the tomato cages. I was like, it can't be this hard. It can't be that hard. So I ended up taking the remaining tomato cages and I walked around the yard and found all the random tomato plants that have not really started developing tomatoes yet, and they're still really small. And I was just like, and you get a cage and you get a cage. So my random self-planting tomatoes now have cages, but the ones that I actually spent money on and want to survive, we don't know if they're going to make the storm or not. But, and the worst part was, is as I was doing this, like, I started having tomatoes fall off and they're all green, and I was so upset about it. But then I remembered like my granny used to take her tomatoes and like set them up on the counter, and that they would eventually redden. You didn't have to do anything to them. They'd do it themselves. So that's what I'm going to do. So I have got a whole bucket of tomatoes now that need to be set out. I had a rough day. Let's just put it that way. I've had a rough day. So, all that being said, that was what happened. Yes, Wallace, fried green tomatoes. I promised John that tomorrow I'm going to make him fried green tomatoes. As a matter of fact, I have thought up a concoction that I'm going to do. They just need a blush of color on the bottom to ripen. Yeah, I actually had one that fell off the vine, but I have more baby bunnies. I do have more bunny babies, and let me tell you the issue with that. So they are all 8 and 9 weeks old, and so I have put them up for sale. They've been up for sale for a week now on Craigslist, on Facebook. I have sold one rabbit out of 19 that need to go. I wish I was too. Wonderful life. I absolutely wish I was. I can't sell them, and I actually am on like this rabbit forum, and I got on there and I was like, is anybody else having issues selling kits? And they were like, yeah, you know, it's beginner's mistake. You never breed and have babies in the summer because everybody's out on vacation and nobody. And I was just like, for real? For real? Didn't know this until I have 19 bunnies, on top of the fact that Maggie has 4, even though I thought she had 3, but she does have 4. So, and the day that she got out and she got in with Rex, I think she may have gotten in with Blackjack first. Pretty sure that those are not Rex's babies. I'm pretty sure that's her daddy's babies. So I think I have inbred babies. Of your babies. She was supposed to get back with me and let me know if she seriously wants one. Yes, so if someone like wants bunnies and you live anywhere near East Tennessee, let me know. Like, I will travel. Like, I gotta get rid of these babies. I'm thinking about keeping the chocolate buck, though. I don't know. And here's something else, too. You guys know I sold Blackjack. And the girl I sold him to, she just put him up for sale again. And I seen a picture of him, and I was just like... And part of me was just like, should I just tell her, just give him to me, give him back to me? But honestly, I really... Jason, don't be a smart aleck. I'll knock you in the face. So hard. I said East Tennessee. I didn't say nothing about Georgia. No, but I don't know. Part of me who says, just tell her you'll take him back. But the reason I even sold him is because my heart says get him back. My brain says he can't breed with anybody else. You've already bred him. All these babies belong to him. You needed new blood in. You've got Rex here. He's just taking up space. And he's just eating. So, I don't know. I'm frustrated. I wanted to get Blackjack. Okay, so I'm done rambling about that. I've rambled for quite a while now. So, I also have been canning pickles. So, you guys know that the lady was the sweetest ever. She posted on Facebook and she was like, hey, I have cucumbers coming out my eyeballs. Maryville and Morristown have a small livestock sale thing in the Tractor Supply parking lot. That might not be a bad idea. Oh, wait, I think Lenore City does too. Ooh, that's not a bad... Thank you, Dana. What was I even talking about? Zucchini pickles? I've never tried zucchini pickles. I've never tried to make them. You can make a sweet pickle recipe video. I want to do some and would love to see how you do it. I don't really know how to do sweet pickles. I've never tried them. I did bread and butter and dill. Next, I think I might do some spicy dill. But I canned. So the lady, I was talking about the lady. So she put on Facebook, hey, I'm overrun with cucumbers. Anybody who wants to, come pick them up, you can have them. So I messaged her and she was like, yeah, you can come today. So I went straight to her house. She was about a 25-minute drive from here. She ended up giving me 10 gallons of cucumbers. And me and her were out there and she was helping me. We were picking the garden and stuff. And she was like, in 2 weeks, you just come on back and you have as many as you want. And I was like, okay. I've started pickling these cucumbers. And I've made so many pickles. And I have actually put on my personal Facebook page that I was selling pickles. And I think I've already sold 20 jars of pickles. So, Sunday at church, I'm going to be taking like 20 jars of pickles with me and being like, here you go. And you get a pickle. And you get a pickle. But I have to say, I'm very proud of myself. My husband tasted my pickles. And he said that they were some of the best he's ever had in his whole life. Now, granted, this was my husband. The girl I babysat for, she came by and picked some up. And she told me, she was like, those are seriously the best pickles I've ever had in my whole life. And she was like, I'm going to start telling people at work about it. And I was like, go right ahead, because I'm going to try to sell all these. At the current moment, I still have 8 gallons left of cucumbers. 1 free bunny with a purchase of pickles. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Yeah, husbands have to see. I just kind of took what he said with a grain of salt. But so far, everybody who's tried them has told me like they're fantastic. And I would love to say that that's something that I done. But, nah, it's just because it's the pickle mix that I use. Great problems with that tonight. So I still have 8 gallons of cucumbers left. And I went out today in the garden and I picked another gallon. So I've got 9 gallons left. And I've already got, before I sell any, right now I have 28 jars in my pantry. And then 9 more gallons to go. So, like, I'm trying to sell these pickles. Because there ain't no way that we're going to need that many in 1 year. I'm going to keep some jars. John loved the bread and butter. I'm going to keep some of those. I'm definitely going to keep some dill pickles because the man loves fried pickles. So I'm going to be making him some fried pickles and fried green tomatoes tomorrow. I didn't get him maybe last year, hoping for some this year. I love making them, but I love to I am the weirdest person. I love to smell pickles. I like to sniff them. When I was pregnant with Solomon, I would just be like in a jar. But I do not eat them. I think they're disgusting. Where do I sell my pickles? I just put it on Facebook, and like when we go to church, I just give them away. Can you trade pickles to other people for what you need? I could. The only problem is I don't know what the deal is. Like, when I put stuff on Facebook or Craigslist and stuff, and I'm trying to like, hey, you want to barter and trade? You want to do this? People act like I'm dumb. And they're just like, trade? What is that? No, I want cash. That's kind of the thing that you get. Holy cheese, that wind is going to break my pines over. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad, Dana. You're getting my little burst. Wait, because right now it's quiet. It's supposed to come again tonight. We're getting it again later. In case you guys are wondering, Sullivan Family Homestead is hour 15, 20 minutes from me. And I have been meaning to plan a day to come up there and say hi to you. But I have yet to do it because I suck at life. You want to hear what else I suck at and I'm so upset about? Let's add this to the top of my crazy day. So before we even left to go do all the errands, and my stupid pullets are hanging out down underneath them. What a bunch of losers. Tell them they're bird brains. Yes, please. Yes, I need to come up there, and you need to give me a shirt, and I need to bring you a shirt. So anyway, before we got moving to do all the errands we had to do, I opened the SUV, and this was, listen, Jason, you're a lot further than she is. So I opened the SUV, and I never get into the very far back where the kids, like the third row seat. And I was looking for something, and I will tell you what that is in a minute. So I opened it up, and I looked, and I was like infuriated. So I had just bought, hey Cherish, whenever I can convince my husband to travel to meet you in, I would love, yeah, that'd be fun. I had bought 10 more Hope's Homestead shirts, and they were in sizes 2, 3, and 4X, because that was the ones, those are the sizes that I sold out of the fastest. My kids had put them in the floor and spilled red slushy on them and had not said a word. 10 t-shirts. Gone. Ruined. Stained beyond fixing. Brought them in, tried to wash them. Stained beyond fixing. Had to throw them away. I was just like... And the whole reason I was even out in the SUV searching for, which I made their little tiny butts march outside and clean the entire SUV. I was like, you guys have got candy wrappers back here. You got drinks back here. You got Barbie dolls, tennis shoes, t-shirts, crap everywhere. You gonna clean it. I made them clean the whole SUV before we even left, which they were infuriated by that. But the reason I was even going out there to look is because I have lost my planner. And I'm very distressed about this because next Thursday we have a guest for the Southern Mama's Coffee Break. The problem is I cannot remember if it's Amanda from the Fundamental Home or if it's Patty Alderman from Alderman Farms. It's one of the other because they're both scheduled for July. August is Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, and yes, Jason, I've lost your address. I've lost my planner. Like, I can't find it. And then September is Esther Emery. Oh, and we were asked, she's so cute. Stacey Lynn Harris has asked to come back on the show. She loved it and she wants to come back. So I sent her her coffee mug. And let me tell you something, guys. Those coffee mugs, people were asking on the show yesterday about buying the coffee mugs from us. I saw the schedule on a thumbnail, not positive though. Yeah. So that's why you haven't come. So the coffee mugs, people were asking about them. Where are we going to sell them? I'm going to tell you, shipping is between $7 and $8 per mug, and it costs almost $10 to make the mug. It is not. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. I was worried. Oh, and it's not dishwasher safe, just so you know. But people were asking about them, and I was just like, it is not. I did the endeavor because I wanted to do it out of just a way to show appreciation for the guests that do come on. I've still got to send Bandana Grandma hers. I still have to send one to Maria. I still have to send one to Simply. There are several that I have not sent out. And it's not because I'm just ignoring them. It's just because I keep forgetting. And it's expensive to ship and package all those. Because it's $7 and $8 to ship. That's not including the bubble wrap, the tape, the packaging slip, or the box. I'm having to buy all that separate. So it's really expensive. But I ended up spending $70 buying the mugs that I have. And then I spend $8 per. So it's costing me a lot of money. I just wanted to do it just to say a thank you to some of the guests that we have coming out. Because some of them have, you know, they promote that we're going to be doing this. And it helps our sub count. And the better the sub count is, the more views you get. And the bigger the show gets. Because I'm going to be honest with you. If Southern Mamas continues to grow as well as it's growing, which it's growing at a decent rate, I'm actually going to probably pitch it to a network and see what happens. Oh, go save you sunflowers. So, yeah, that is... Oh, okay. I was looking because it looked like somebody asked me a question. So, that would be the ultimate goal for Southern Mamas. And a couple of people asked me about shirts, and I'm thinking about doing it, but... Again, that cost us, it's just like the Hope's Homestead shirts. I think I spent like $200 on shirts. And once I shipped them out, which I charge enough to where I don't have to charge anybody for shipping. Like a separate charge for shipping, because I think that's ridiculous. Fastball, hopefully. Just fast track it. By the time it was all done, I didn't even make 1/3 of what I spent. So, yeah. It's one of those things that you make the investment and that you hope that it works, but sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Woo! You can look at my fan. Hold on. I was wondering why. Hold on. Stop moving. I was wondering why my phone, I was like, why is my phone dying? I have it plugged in. I didn't plug it into the wall. That helps. So yeah, it's one of those things that you make the investment and you're trying to, you know, have a product to give people stuff, and it's really, you don't, like, people think you're going to make money off of it and you really will not. You just don't. It'd be nice, but you just don't. Even like the pickles, like I only charge $4 for a jar of pickles, and it cost me $3 to make them. Now, if they return the jar, I'll give them $1 off the next thing of pickles. That way people will return my jars to me. So that helps. Okay, guys, I'm kind of getting bored. Like, I have nothing else to talk about. I've yacked all I could yak. I have nothing left to say. Oh, I do have to. Or silhouette and make it yourself. That would be. But I'd still have to buy the t-shirts. And they're just as expensive. I'd have to buy them like in bulk. That's a pain. Talk about how I miss you. Well, let's see. I don't. Cherish, can I ask an odd favor? Oh, Lord. Okay, yeah, go ahead. I will send you a case of jars. You're so sweet, Tim. Sometimes. You can be rotten, but you're sweet. No, I actually do miss the bears. They've come up here several times. We were planning on going down there during John's shutdown. But it's called broke, no gas, because I have a big SUV and Bertha is expensive. Bertha is expensive. Can I pay for my own mug? I mean, I guess you can, Maria, if you want to. You don't have to. I do it as a gift because I love y'all. Tell us more about Southern Mamas. Oh, Lord. I used to buy t-shirts wholesale for my embroidery business. Contact me and I can get you some supply recommended. That would be awesome. I'm 39 weeks pregnant. I would so take prayers for a delivery soon. The more that you pray, maybe God would bless me. I absolutely will. I have been there. Yeah, I've got the t-shirt 4 times over. I know all about that life. Lord, just let this baby get here. I'm so done. I will tell you something. Hope, what's cheaper, the cost of the mug or delivery? The delivery is cheaper. The delivery is like right at $8 depending on how far it's traveling. The mug itself is $8 even. Hi, sorry I'm late. I'm trying to make black bean burgers. Oh, okay. I know how you feel. I'm preggo also. Thanks, 6 hours of false labor on Wednesday. I'm hot and miserable. Okay. Guys, if this is going to bother you, get over it. So I'll tell you something that actually helped me go into labor with Olivia. It was evening primrose oil. You can get them in capsules and you insert them before you go to bed. Walking, doing squats, all those things work. But evening primrose oil will make your cervix dilate. And it is safe. Most of the time, hello Hope, been so busy with gardening but having a rainy day. Actually, many rainy days, so check in on you. Hey, Deep South. Walking squats, yeah. We're getting some rain too. I bet you guys are getting hit. I bet that you all are getting hit harder than we are. But yeah, evening primrose oil, yeah. Being intimate helps too. But evening primrose oil, it was given to... No, your husband has the best medicine. That's true. He really does. I used it with Olivia. You start out with 1 capsule at night before you go to bed. Sleep with it. And then the next night, you do 2. And you just continuously do 2. On day 4, I delivered Olivia. Like, I went from not dilated to a 5. Like that. It really, really does work. I think he's tired of helping now. Yeah, it absolutely will help. It is and the only reason I knew is because I had friended a midwife on Facebook and she told me to do it and it worked like magic. And another one is raw pineapple. Raw pineapple will cause you to have contractions. Trust me, I've had them babies and they've been like, how do I get this out? What do I got to do to get this thing out? Because I'm so done. I had 3 home births. Woo! I would have loved to have had a baby at home. Loved it. My biggest issue I think I had with Olivia, honestly, Mara, Olivia, and Solomon, I wish I would have had all of them at home. I was, with the first baby, with Shane, he was premature. It was an emergency. And there was a lot of complications. And so I had a lot of issues with that. And so afterward with Mara, I was inexperienced. I didn't know better. I thought that it was important to have a hospital birth. By the time I got to Solomon, John was still so scared from what happened with Shane. And I had toxemia with Mara that he was just like, absolutely not. And then by the time Olivia came along, we ended up having complications with her. I wish I could have been one of those people that did that because I had Solomon natural. And let me tell you something. It was a breeze by comparison to being induced. You do not want to be induced. It's horrible. Babies come when they're ready. Don't rush. That's true. When I talk about like being induced is miserable. It is the worst thing that you could possibly do. But if you can do like natural remedies, old wives' tales, some of them work, some of them don't. You just do what you try. And it's not a big deal. I have no idea what he just said, but I'm sure it's something goofy. Yeah, I mean, like pineapple, even if you eat raw pineapple and it doesn't cause you to contract, it's still good for you. And the evening primrose oil, it's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to do anything, but if it does work, it works. Went natural with all of mine except they induced with my third child, and it was horrible. It is. It was. Solomon I was induced with, but they just mildly done it. Like they just, I think they barely turned the Pitocin up. I was already ready. And so I just had him. My biggest thing is the doctors, I didn't know any better. It is a lot like homesteading in the way of before I started doing it, I didn't realize what it was like to kill your animals. I didn't realize how much of a ripoff the grocery store is until you start gardening, and then you go in and you see like it's $2 for a zucchini, and I'm just like, I will give you zucchini. You can have it all. Like you don't realize what a ripoff it is until after you're in it. And so it wasn't until after I had kids that I looked back and I was like, I wish I could have went back into that, because giving birth has become such a moneymaker, and it's so industrialized, and they want you to do it at a certain time so that you're not inconveniencing the doctor, and they will schedule you for C-sections. You know what I'm saying? Like it's frustrating, and I wish that I would have known better. You know, guys, it's a false hormone, so you don't forget the pain. That is the truth. Okay, I wanted to be a midwife, but thought no one 30 years ago was into home birth. Hey, Hope, Devin here. Sorry I'm late, but I was outside working. You know how it goes. Can't stop till the sun goes down. That is true. The business is being born. Yes, I have seen that video off of Netflix years ago, and I really wish I wish I would have done home births. Like so much so that I've just been like, would I want another baby just so I could do it all? Just so I could do it? No, I would not. That factory is shut for business. She grabbed me by my hair and said, "Get this out of me." They have sequel episodes. Oh, do they really? Oh, Lord. That was a very eye-opening documentary, honestly. When I watched it, I was just like, it makes total sense. I gotta get something to drink. I think Jason lies. I don't think Robin was that bad. By the way, I love the hair, Hope. Oh, thank you. This is my mother's doing. It is wet and fuzzy because of the rain and stuff for right now. 3 of them, and read the book, Pushed by Jennifer Block. I'm going to tell you, with Olivia, the medical intervention that I got was what caused me to almost die. And I'm not even joking. They almost killed me. And I really regret having her in the hospital. I wish that I would have just said, you know what? You all can take your epidurals and your Pitocin and stick it up your nose. Because that's what I felt like. But that is, after it was over, she punched me in the face and said that it was my fault. I told her that she should have not worn that yellow dress. My wife's having a baby in September. Anybody else got one on the way? Sound off. Oh, I know, and it's a little girl. I saw your video of your gender reveal, and that's how I found you. That was the first video I watched of yours, and it was so cute. Most birth problems are caused by shoddy doctors or procedures. The issue that I had with Olivia was the fact that my blood pressure increased. And my blood pressure increased because, and I told them this, but nobody listens to me. They thought I was stupid. They were just like, oh, well, so sorry about that. I started having contractions, so I went into the doctor. I went into the hospital. It was the day after Christmas, and it was early in the morning. It was like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning when I got there. And they put me in a room for observation because I was contracting. And they put me in the room that I was in when I was having the first baby that died. And it was giving me such anxiety. I mean, like, I was having major anxiety. So my blood pressure started going up. Well, I told them, and they were just like, yeah, well, you know, all the rooms are full and we just can't. Like, we'll move you if we get the chance. And just kind of like, just kind of hem-haw and just whatever. So I was like having super anxiety. So they come back in and they were like, you're fine. You know, we're just going to watch you for a little bit because you're having some kind of contractions and stuff. Well, then my blood pressure started going up because I was getting really upset. So they were like, oh my God, your blood pressure's going up. We got to give you some magnesium and drop your blood pressure. Well, magnesium stops labor. But then when they started doing that, they were like, oh my gosh, we've got to, they were like, your blood pressure's going up, so we think you might be getting preeclampsia, so now we're going to have to deliver the baby because you're past 36 weeks, so let's go ahead and get Pitocin in you. So then they were giving me magnesium to drop my blood pressure, but it stops labor, and giving me Pitocin to make me go into labor at the same time. And on top of that, as we were going, they were like, you're going to need an epidural. I was like, I don't want one. You're going to need an epidural by 10 o'clock in the morning. I was like, you've got to give me an epidural. I am literally dying. So they come in there, they give me the epidural, and I kept telling the guy, I was like, it's not working. And he kept telling me, oh, you're fine, you're fine. I can come in here. And he was like, I can bolus it. You know, I was like, I can give you another shot of it. And I was just like, you're going to have to do something because I'm dying. And I paged the nurse, and I was like, I think I need to push. Like, I feel, she come in and she looked at my contraction. She was like, yeah, by the contractions, looks like you're ready to push. Let's check you. Guess what? 4 centimeters. I was refusing to dilate because they had me on magnesium. So I laid there contracting and needing to push from 10 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night in complete agony. They come in there at 9 o'clock because I was literally screaming to where you could hear me down the hallways. And the reason they came in to check on me was because the baby's heart rate was dropping. The reason her heart rate was dropping is because they had my Pitocin up so high that I was contracting at the top and releasing at the bottom and then contracting. It was one continuous contraction. I wasn't stopping. It was I was crushing Olivia. And so they were like, we've got to get her to stop, turn that Pitocin off. The nurse looked at it and said, who turned it up this high? Now, I had a student nurse that was coming in there, touching the Pitocin. So she turned me up too high. So they had me up too high. They grabbed a hold of me. The whole time I'm screaming bloody freaking murder. Like, I couldn't even speak. I was screaming so much. They flipped me to my side because the baby's heart rate had dropped. So they flipped me to my side. And the nurse said, no wonder. She held up the tubing for my epidural. It was not in my back. The whole bed was wet. It had come out of my back and was literally pouring out onto the bed. So I was doing this with nothing. I was screaming. So they gave me a shot in the back of my arm, and they put oxygen on me because my oxygen started dropping, I guess because I was screaming my guts out. So they gave me a shot in the arm to try to stop the contractions, and they watched it, and it wasn't stopping. And so they called the high-risk doctor in, and all of them come rushing in and freaking out. And she said, she looked at John, and she was like, her blood pressure is up so high, and she's so upset, and she's so, like, it's so bad at this point that if we did a C-section, her blood pressure would bottom out and she would drop dead. Like, we cannot do a C-section. She has to push the baby out, but she's only dilated to a 9, barely. She said, is she a good pusher? John said, she's a fantastic pusher. She said, well, good, because it's going to take all she's got. She said, and there's a chance that she's going to tear her cervix, and if she does, it is an automatic hysterectomy. Do you understand that? John said, you've got to do what you got to do to save her. And so I pushed for 2 hours to deliver Olivia, to the point that I actually had a nurse having to push down on my stomach to help keep her down because magnesium will not let you deliver. I finally had her. And when I did, they checked me for a good 15 minutes, making sure that I hadn't, like, died. It was so bad, they rolled a crash cart in. They thought I was going to have a heart attack. Like, I come this close to dying. And they were checking me out. And I'm laying there, and I just have my eyes closed, and I was just like, oh, God. Like, I was just glad I wasn't dead. And I was just laying there the whole time. And I had to do all that natural because that epidural didn't work. And I was just like, I'm hurting so bad. Like, I'm glad that I'm still conscious. At one point during pushing, I almost fainted. And then I hear somebody crying. And I thought, is John crying? And I look over. No, he's over there with the baby. And it's a nurse. And she's like rubbing my leg and looking at me with the most terrified look on her face. And she is just bawling. And I just look at her and she goes, I'm sorry, it's my first day. I was like, whoo, lady, you got a good introduction to this industry. Poor thing. She was so cute though. And the doctor looked at her. She was like, if you can't control that, you need to leave. No, I actually could not sue them because technically they didn't do anything wrong. They didn't do anything wrong. They medically intervened because my blood pressure was up. They didn't care. It traumatized me so bad that for probably about a week after she was born, I cried all the time. I had nightmares. You could not say the word labor. You could not say the word birth. You could not say anything like that. Because if you did, I would go into complete hysterics. I was just, it got me. Like, I just could not handle it after that. So, I'm kind of glad Livy was my last. Because if she'd have been my first, I probably wouldn't have had no more. Because that traumatized me quite a bit. So, part of me, I'm like, oh, I might want another baby. And then I think back to what happened with Livy. And I'm just like, maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know about that. That was traumatic. That was really traumatic. Mara's was pretty much a breeze. The worst part with her was just the last part of it. That's with any labor. So Solomon was such a breeze that when he was born, I looked at John and I was like, I could do that again. Not today, but I could do it again. And the doctor was like, well, you can get up whenever you feel like it. And I was like, all right. And I got up and he was like, where are you going? I was like, I gotta pee. I just hopped right out of the bed and walked on. I mean, Solly was easy. But with Mara, I was very scared with her because of what had happened with the first baby. So that was kind of, gotta go, but thanks for bringing back the birth memory. It's been a long time since I thought about birth, nearly 30 years. LO, have a great night and hope everyone. All right, see you deep south. Bye, Miss Wanda. Oh my God, that's terrible and hilarious at the same time. It really is. It was terrible. The cool thing that happened, there was two interesting things that happened. I don't even know why we're on birth stories. I guess because they brought up babies, and I love babies. If I would not have had issues delivering and having children, I wanted 8. John wanted 2. So we settled with 3. Two funny things actually happened with Solomon. The first thing was something simple. He had a student doctor in the room, and I was pushing Solomon out, and I only had to push 3 times, and the student doctor was like, whoa, oh my God, look at that. Like, he started freaking out, and I was like, what's wrong with him? Solomon actually reached out, grabbed the doctor's coat, and pulled himself out. Now, that's pretty cool. But the funny story about Solomon's birth was, I'm really weird when it comes to giving birth. If you are not a medical professional, or if you were not there when he was created, you don't get to be there when he's born. Period. That's how I feel about my kids. Like, nobody's allowed to be there. Nobody, except for John. And doctors and nurses, and that's only because they're assisting. So, when people were, I'm sorry to hear that story about you. My daughter's birth took half an hour. Shoo, I wish. I think Olivia's was like 12 hours. That's exactly how I was, Hope. Yeah. So we, so I didn't want anybody there. And the women at our church were all going, strength, time to pop on some corn and watch some movie with the hubs. All right, see you later. I had a student doctor. She ended up with a broken clavicle. Oh, crap. Yeah, he wasn't doing anything. He was just watching. I told him he could observe, but if he touched me, I'd kick him in the face. So, the women at our church were going on the ladies' retreat. So before they went, they decided to stop in and see how I was doing. Well, I'd already informed the nurse, unless it is my husband or Jesus himself, nobody's allowed back here. So she come knocking on the door and she was like, there's like 25 women out here. And so I told John, I was like, you go right on ahead. You go out there. You talk to them. Don't you let nobody back here. He's like, I'm not. So he leaves. He shuts the door. The nurse comes back in. She was like, how you doing? I'm good. I'm all right. I've been okay. And she said, okay, Dr. Amin's going to come in here and break your water. And I was like, that's fine. I'm good. I'm all right. So he comes in and he was like, how you feeling? I was like, good. He's like, oh, I'm going to break your water. Okay. And he said, you tell me if you need anything. I was like, how about $1 million in a brown paper bag? And he laughed and he said, I'll work on it. They walked out the door, shut the door. Now I'm watching Animal Cops. And I'm sitting here. Solomon's labor was only 6 hours. I mean, it was a breeze. And so I'm sitting there watching Animal Cops, and I hear the door rattle. And I was like, Nobody opened it. I was like, whatever. Went back to watching Animal Cops. I hear the door rattle again, and I was like, who's touching the door? I hear the door rattle again, and I was just like, I hear John through the door go, hey, babe. Don't panic, okay? But the door's locked. I was like, what? The door's jammed. I was like, the door's jammed? He goes, yeah, they're calling maintenance. The door has jammed shut. So here I am, alone. They just broke my water. I'm about 4 hours into labor. And I'm by myself. And I was just like, this is fantastic. What I always wanted. So I'm laying there and I was just like, okay. Then I hear the nurse and she goes, we're getting maintenance up here. Don't panic, okay? Are you still doing okay? I was like, I'm doing all right. And I thought, I'll be okay. I've got a couple hours. I should be fine. So I'm just laying there and I'm watching Animal Cops and I hear a bunch of rattling and I hear them whispering and talking behind the door and I thought, they're thinking I'm panicked. And I'm not. I'm watching them, rescue this dog out of an abandoned house. So John was like, I hear this. Hey, babe. And I'm like, yeah. Hold still. I'm going to try to kick the door down. You're going to kick the door down. Now, you've seen there's a big hospital door. I was like, I don't think you're going to get that down. He's like, here comes maintenance. And I was like, all right. So I hear him jiggling the door for a little bit longer. It's been almost an hour now. And I'm on my second episode of Animal Cops. And so he's like jiggling the door and the maintenance guy goes, all right, buddy, if you think you can, just ram it with your shoulder right here. And I thought, dear God, they're using John like a battering ram outside my door. So John runs and you hear boom. I mean, it is loud. Nothing. And I was like, well, that's interesting. And he goes, that didn't work. Give us a little bit longer. I was like, okay. They actually had to go and get a special tool and remove the hinges off the door to take the door apart. Something happened when they shut and the latch part broke off and so the handle would not open the door. So over an hour and the nurse come busting in and she was like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, all right. I was like, I'm not comfortable anymore. Like, I'm really uncomfortable, but I'm okay. And she said, oh, I thought, oh Lord, if I have to talk you through delivering this baby through this door, I will. But Lord, I didn't want to. I was like, nah, I'm all right. 30 minutes later, they come by and check me. She was like, you're at about a 6, 7. I was like, yeah. I'm just going to let you know right now. Don't go far. She was like, oh, no, it'll be another couple hours. Like, nah, don't go far. Don't go far. 10 minutes later, told her I need to push. Solomon was born 3 pushes later. Just that quick. If they would have taken about another 30, 40 minutes to get that door open, I'd have had to deliver Solomon by myself. That would have been an interesting birth story. So I got locked. Let's see. The first baby was traumatic all by itself. Mara was the cutest thing ever when she was born. The first baby was born at 23 weeks. Mara was born at 35. Solomon was born at 38, almost 39. And Olivia was born at 36. So all of my babies were born early. Mara was only 6 pounds and 4 ounces. And then by the time we left the hospital, she was 5'14". She was so tiny. So tiny. I don't know. Depends how much money you got. So yeah, I love how tiny she was. She was just the cutest little thing ever. And when she was born, she had her eyes like all scrunched up. She'd look at her daddy and she'd go, "Wah!" And he'd go, "I know it, I know it." And she'd just look at him, "Ah!" She'd actually cry. She just screamed at him and nothing ever changed. So, let's see. What time is it? Now that you all have heard all my interesting birth stories, some things never change. They never do change. She's always screaming at somebody or something. Oh, speaking of children, Jason, Solomon drew a little card that he's planning to give Ladessa the next time he sees her. It says, "I love Ladessa," and he drew stick figures of him and her, and he's holding her hand and giving her a flower. I was like, look how cute you are, Butter. He's so cute. He still talks about her all the time as if he sees her every other day. He's so little. My kids are growing up. It makes me sad. He's going to kindergarten. I will only have Olivia at home, and I've had to talk her into it. She's like, I want to go to school. She wants the Peppa Pig. My littlest kids call them not backpacks, but pack-packs. They say it twice, pack-packs. And she's like, I'm a Peppa Pig pack-pack. And I'm like, you're not getting Peppa Pig. I was like, Butter and Sissy have to go to school, and Wither stays home with Mama. And she's like, yeah, I stay home with Mama. And I'm like, yeah, and I'll feed you strawberries. So I have a feeling the first couple days of school are going to be a little rough. We'll see. I'm hoping not. So it is almost 9 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and head off here. Nothing better than birth stories, and I'm 64. They're very interesting. I love to hear people's birth stories. I think it's so interesting. It's kind of like our personal war stories because nobody else has experienced it except for a woman, obviously. And it's interesting to hear what happened to other women and it's so crazy because each baby is so different and each story is so different. I think it's just one of the things. I just like hearing other people's stories, so I just thought I'd tell you about my horrible one. And Solomon's lovely, locked in the room. Okay, so I am going to, we'll absolutely be praying for you, his and hers. So I love you guys. I'm going to head off here. If you guys don't care, please be praying for me Sunday. Tomorrow I'm going to practice. Sunday I am leading praise and worship for our church. I love you too, Maverick. If I go into labor soon, you're going to get a Snapchat. Okay. But I'm leading praise and worship for our church, and I'm extremely nervous. So Sunday, if you guys are interested in the live stream, I will be live streaming it, and I am going to be the one singing and leading the whole thing. And I'm terrified. So if you can, say a little prayer for me because I'm scared. So love you guys, and I will see you Sunday unless I do a vlog tomorrow.